Hi there, Amit here for Advice Media, and in this video I'm going to compare the Sony Xperia Z with the Sony Xperia Z Ultra. Now this is one of the most successful Android smartphone from Sony this year, and this was also considered as the flagship model from Sony. We had done a few interesting videos around the Sony Xperia Z by dropping it into a swimming pool, while this is the latest entrant in the market which comes with some unique features too. So in this video I'm going to do a quick comparison of both of these Android devices. First of all, when you talk about the looks itself, the Sony Xperia Z looks like a perfect smartphone in terms of the form factor and the size of the smartphone, while this one looks like a very large sized Android device which you cannot use it as a phone itself, because this actually looks quite awkward if you try to use this as a smartphone. When you look into the thickness of both of these smartphones, you would easily find that the Ultra is actually better because it's slimmer than the Sony Xperia Z. When you look into the weight of both of these devices, the Xperia Z Ultra has a total weight of 212 grams when compared to 146 grams of the Sony Xperia Z. When you look into the ratings also, the Xperia Z comes with IP57 rating, which is a dust and water resistant feature, while the Sony Xperia Z Ultra has a better rating in terms of IP58 rating, which is actually dust and waterproof rating, which is not just water resistant but actually waterproofing, which means that you don't have to worry about water when you drop this anywhere. So that is actually something, a positive point which I could say for the Sony Xperia Z Ultra. Now when you talk about the display size, this one comes with a 5 inches display, while the Xperia Z Ultra has a very large display of 6.4 inches. But again, when you talk about the resolution, then the Sony Xperia Z actually wins because it comes with 441 pixels per inch, while the Xperia Z Ultra has a lower PPI of just 344. So that is something which you need to make a note of. Because of the larger screen size, overall the PPI has actually come down. And one of the unique features of both of these smartphones is that they come with the same shatterproof and scratch resistant display, or in terms of the glass, which is actually useful because you don't have to worry about the scratches forming onto the display. Let me just show you a quick demo of the same. So since both of these smartphones have the same glass, you don't have to worry about these kind of scratches which would form up onto the display of the smartphone. So that is something unique. You don't have to worry about those things which would come up onto the display panel of both of these smartphones. When you talk about the internal storage, then both of these come with the starting size of 16 GB and the same 2 GB of RAM, which is actually pretty much huge. Now when you talk about the camera aspect, the Sony Xperia Z comes with a 13 megapixel camera with LED flash, while the Xperia Z Ultra comes with just 8 megapixel camera and without the flash. Now that is quite surprising because we don't know why Sony has actually removed the flash out of this and also opted for a lower resolution camera. So in that case, again the Xperia Z wins and not the Xperia Z Ultra. Now when you talk also about the front camera, this one comes with 2.2 megapixel front camera, while this one comes with just 2 megapixel camera. Talking about the OS, since this has been recently launched, it comes with Android 4.2 out of the box, while the Xperia Z comes with 2 megapixel out of the box. So that is about the OS version. When you talk about the processor, then the Sony Xperia Z comes with 1.5 GHz processor, which is quad core, and the same Sony Xperia Z Ultra comes with a quad core processor but of 2.2 GHz. So that is where the Sony Xperia Z Ultra wins. And also you had seen the other videos on this channel wherein we had done a few benchmark tests on the Sony Xperia Z Ultra, and it has actually been the number one device with the highest numbers in terms of benchmarks. When you talk about the battery capacity, again the Xperia Z Ultra wins with 3050 mAh, while the Xperia Z has a battery of just 2330 mAh, but that should be sufficient because it comes with a smaller display. When you talk about the pricing part, this is priced at around 32 to 33,000 Indian rupees, while this one is at around 42 to 44,000 rupees. So there is almost a price difference of around 10 to 11,000 rupees. So there is not really huge difference in terms of the pricing part, but considering that both of them come with the same form factor, and I think a 5-inch display is also pretty decent enough for a normal person in terms of usage. If you are planning to buy one of these devices and if you are confused, I would actually suggest you to go for the Sony Xperia Z, not just for the price but also for the features, a beautiful display. Obviously the OS is almost the same, and again 1.5 GHz quad-core processor should also be able to is actually capable to run all the best Android applications or the high-end games. You also need to make a note that the Sony Xperia Z Ultra comes with a new type of display, which is the triluminous display, while this one came with the Sony Bravia Engine 2, which is also pretty decent one. So I would clearly tell you that you should actually go for the Sony Xperia Z rather than the Xperia Z Ultra, because this is not a Android smartphone, but it's actually more like a tablet itself, because you won't be able to use this large device as a smartphone, and you can actually play good kind of games and also browse the web or enjoy content on this device on this large display. But apart from that, using this as a phone is a big no. So considering all these points, if you still want to get our suggestion, then you should actually go for the Sony Xperia Z. If not, you can actually go to a store and then compare them both, keeping side to side, and then you can decide what would be a better purchase for you. So this was a quick overview and a comparison of the Sony Xperia Z and the Z Ultra. Do like this video if you actually like the content, and we hope to see you on our next video in Advice Media. Thank you.